Hi everyone. Yes, this is like not a very bougie picture, a very bougie video. Just disclaimer, keep following this channel and you'll just grow in everything. But like I feel like I should be just truly authentic. If you haven't told by the title, I am talking about why is people running and rushing to China and not South Korea. And also Japan. And so the real question, sorry, is basically why do I believe that people are flocking to China and Japan and leaving South Korea in like herds, right? And I'm gonna link the video below that like basically inspired me to make this video. I've been following him a lot, and honestly, like I like his content. It's very real, it's very authentic, and you could tell he doesn't pull up a show. He literally puts on his camera and just says what his opinion is, and that's about it. And like I live in China, he obviously lives in South Korea, and he just seems like his challenge is very much real and authentic. And it's very rare to find a channel nowadays about teaching overseas that's very real and authentic. So yeah. With that being said, let's get into the video. So, so like, first of all, I'm gonna try to keep this as like organized as much as I can, but I'm gonna be real. Stay with me. I'm gonna try to make it clear, but it may not be that organized. So let's get into it. We're number one, the first one, I truly believe why people are like leaving South Korea is due to the fact of lack of community for foreigners. And hear me out. When you go to South Korea, okay, from what teachers that came to China, other previous teachers, personally for me, is South Korea just became an oversaturated place that is just full of people that fetishize over Korean culture. And the foreigners that go there have really no interest as being friends with other foreigners. They just want to surround themselves with Koreans because they want to be with a Korean man or a Korean woman, or they have this crazy idea that they're going to be a K-pop star. Hear me out. When I was younger, I was the weird black girl in school that watched K-dramas, that listened to K-pop. I was around where the very first K-pop group that had a black girl or non-Koreans in there, and that was years ago. That was like when I was like in like elementary, and everybody just know about Black Swan, but Black Swan is not even the first. First of all, let's make it very clear. They're not even the first one that ever had a black girl, let alone a girl that was not like Asian on their thing. And I'm going to just say this. No shade to Korean culture and all this kind of stuff, and no shade to your little dreams. But if you have this sick idea that you're going to be part of that big massive group like Blackpink, you're crazy. If you don't believe me, look at everything they've done to groups like that. That's just my opinion. Like, I don't care. Like, I've been around the Korean music scene and listening to them and seeing all these groups and seeing how the overall population reacts to them. And even if they have a small group of people that support them, they never become really big and they just end up becoming the background of a lot of things. And it's just what it is. And it's not because I touch on the other stuff, but one of it has to do with the fact that other than outside of westernized countries, right? Most westernized countries is built on immigration. Let's be real. They're just built on immigration. When you go to Eastern countries like Asia, or Eastern continents like Asia, by the way, or countries like South Korea, you're not dealing with countries that had to deal with immigration. You see what I'm saying? Like, they're there because their ancestors been there for over thousands or 5,000 years. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is their people. Like, when you say K-pop, it's not just like, oh my God, R&B is no. K-pop is literally like Korean pop. So like for them to like put you as a face of that type of scene and you're not Korean, it's even a white girl couldn't pass that. Trust me, it was a K-pop group that had a white girl up in there. They didn't even go nowhere. Like, but I digress on that. I'm spending too much time on this, but like I say this because that's also one of the main reasons. A lot of people go there for this dream to be a K-pop star, K-drama star, and like they literally like sell their soul in a way. Like they just say F foreigners, I'm just gonna hang out with nothing but Koreans, I'm gonna hang out with nothing but Asians. And they have this also fetishization because they want to be with Koreans, they want to date Koreans, they want to marry Korean, they want to have a half Malaysian or half Wasian or half whatever baby, and they want them to be half Korean all types of stuff. So because of that, like the community of foreigners are not really authentic. It is a lot of drama, it's a lot of fight, it's a lot of pettiness, it's a lot of cattiness, and it doesn't feel safe anymore. Like when I was in high school, I used to follow um a lot of ESL teachers that used to like work in South Korea. And when I say high school, I'm talking about I was like 2014, 2013, 2012. Around that time, that was the best part of being an English teacher in South Korea was, yes, you're experiencing culture, but also it's a sense of community, like sense of community when it comes to other foreigners. Like when you walk across the street and you see a foreigner, you guys just instantly start talking to each other. You exchange contacts. You guys start hanging out next week, and you guys become and you guys create this whole friend group. That was how it was. Because I used to follow so many ESL teachers that left South Korea, and one of the main reasons that they mentioned a lot of times that I don't see a lot of people talk about is community. The community left South Korea. It's no community no more. If you go to South Korea, so what if you're a foreigner? They don't give a, you know what I mean? Like they don't care. The foreigners don't care, and also South Koreans, like they're very more like to themselves. And then the ones that are not, you got to be careful because they could just use you because you're a foreigner. Like you won't be like their friend. You'll be their friend because you're a foreigner. Like I have this foreign friend, almost like just to say they have a foreigner to make them feel cooler. But it's not like a real, like, I want to get to know you type of like attitude. It is very rare to find them nowadays, especially if you just want to live in Seoul. Like if you just want to live in Seoul, South Korea, it is extremely hard to find that authenticness when it comes to other Koreans. Like most of them are just very much like, oh, you're a foreigner, let me with you. Not like, oh my God, you seem like a nice person, let me get to know you. You see what I'm saying? So that community is kind of like gone. That was a long winded, but like that's one of the main things people like to skip about, community. And when you go to Japan, even though Japan is very much oversaturated with tourism, they still are able to keep this sense of community there. Like they have a whole bunch of teaching groups, they have a whole bunch of like different activities and organizations, even like some of the Japanese teachers, as well as even some of the foreigners that live in your area. It's just like more of like a close-knit like family. From what I've gathered, even from some of my friends that have went to Japan for like 6 months to teach, like they loved it because it just felt like it was a sense of community there, even if it was a very small one, because you can be placed in the rural part of Japan where it's like hardly anyone, but like it still feels like that sense of community, even if it's like one or two people. Okay. Number two that people don't talk about, the party scene. I know it's crazy, but like, despite what people believe, like most ESL teachers that come to South Korea back then were not about the party scene. Like, it's crazy enough. Like we come to different countries, especially Asia, to live a better life, financially free life, to experience another culture. And I'm sorry, if your culture is nothing but drinking and partying most of the time, and you guys are just pumping up K-pop all the time, like what is else for me to do? Like, okay, I listen to K-pop, great. Okay, I watch K-dramas, great. What else to do? You know what I mean? And it seems like in South Korea right now, they are just very much promoting this party scene atmosphere. Not saying South Korea doesn't have other things to do. That's a complete lie. They have that island. I forget the name of it. They have so many other things. But what I'm saying is that they don't promote it that much. So when people think of South Korea now, they think of a party country. They don't think of like, oh my God, they got nature. They got an island. They got hot springs. They have all this type of stuff. They have like a good hiking trails. People don't know about that in South Korea. What they know about South Korea is party and makeup and beauty. That's all they know now. South Korea has done a very horrible job of just promoting the wrong things, which is inviting the wrong type of people in your country, because those people that come in your country are not really there to stay long term, because they're there just to have fun and leave. Versus back then, the teachers that was coming were actually coming because they wanted to experience all this culture. I don't know if you guys remember back in the day, but when South Korea was promoting their country in different schools and even activities, summer abroad programs, they were promoting actual like things to do. Like they were promoting like different historical sites. They were actually educating people, and which got people like really curious. Like, oh, this is what it is about. This is what South Korea is about. Okay, let's go. Let's explore. Now all you see is K-pop stars drinking, partying. Like that's all you get from there. Yes, you could do that in South Korea, but like that is not all of South Korea. But they done a horrible job promoting it. And to me, that just it kind of now people who are like me or people who are like kind of like me that are like more introverted, who doesn't really like bars, who doesn't really go out and drink at all, who really prefers like more of like a solitude type of like activities, and like we like going to parks and walking with nature. We like maybe trying out maybe a new little bakery in a little cute little area, like very more like by yourself or very much outdoorsy type of like activities is what we kind of look for. And when it comes to South Korea, they have done a horrible job at promoting those type of activities. Number 3, group group activities. Okay, so just like I said, it's like not a lot of activities. Even the activities that you do go for, even the restaurants you do go for, a lot of it is circled around being a couple or being a part of a group. And like I said, if you're like me or other people kind of like me that kind of prefers like by yourself activities, like it is cool that if you want to hang out with friends, but like sometimes I just want to go out and like by myself, and it's okay. Like I want to go out to a park by myself. I want to go to do something by myself. And like, it's like everything is about groups. Like it's never about yourself. And even if it's by yourself, because South Korea has this very much couple and group culture, you feel awkward eating alone. You feel awkward doing things alone. It makes you feel very insecure. And South Korea just doesn't make a healthy environment for that. Okay. I don't know what number 4, I guess is the one thing, I guess. What else? I think I got, like, did I get everything? Oh, I mean, everyone talks about it, but pay in South Korea is not bad, but the cost of living is super high. It's almost like America. Hear me out. Because America, when people talk about me like, oh my God, why you love America? Y'all get paid so much money. But you be like, the cost of living is horrible. So like, if South Korea was like not that expensive to live, almost like China and even Japan, it will make sense of why I'm like taking this. But like I'm taking this money that I get paid the same way in Japan, kind of. And at least in Japan, I can find very inexpensive places to live, right? And also China, very inexpensive places to live. And I can still live comfortably. It won't feel like I'm living in a shack. It'll feel like I'm living in a very decent apartment, but very cheap. South Korea, you will get a fucking shoebox as a goddamn apartment, and it will still be the same price as like you're getting a house in America. Like the prices of South Korea is super expensive unless you want to live very far away from everybody. But those places obviously don't have that many schools or even so like you can't even do that even if you want to. So like the pay, horrible. I won't say that pay is horrible. I feel like the cost of living is horrible. Because the cost of living is so high, it makes the pay bad. And then I think that's about it. I don't think I'm missing anything from my perspective. Now I'm gonna really talk about a little bit about like China. So when it comes to China, everything I just said about South Korea, right? China, you have a sense of community. Japan, you have a sense of community. The pay in China is far better than all three of them, just saying. And the cost of living is super low. So like, yeah. Also, I forgot to mention this. Finding an apartment is way more less stress-free, like very more like less stressful. Very less stressful in China. I think South Korea is very difficult because it's like a lot of nuances you got to go through, and then on top of that, it's like very expensive. Japan, everybody knows Japan's very big problem is they don't like to really rent to foreigners. It's very hard. When it comes to China, it is very easy. Like, you can come in with even a long stay visa and find a apartment that books you month to month. Like, it's like finding an apartment in China for foreigners is very easy. So it makes the transition very more smoothly, where you'd be like, oh, I love this apartment, but do they rent to foreigners? Obviously they do. They don't care. As long as you got the money, they will rent to you, boo. That's all about money in China. They love money. Oh, last thing I want to touch on. I may make a separate video for this, but I'm just going to gently touch on it. Is racism. Now, racism is obviously a thing in all three places I'm talking about, even in China, and I live here. But it is very much, from what I've gathered from Black teachers and other teachers that live in South Korea, you really feel it in South Korea, especially if you are not lucky and you're placed in a horrible school or like training center institution. Like, you will really feel the uncomfortable, the disrespect, the favoritism. Like, in China, you feel it too. Like, I could talk about China. That's why I'm saying it's gonna be a very separate video, because China's gonna make you be like, do I want to come here as a Black girl? Because there's some shit that I will tell you that's gonna make your jaw drop to the floor. But what I've said about South Korea is that all the other things I've talked about, the icing on the cake is that they don't even respect people of color that much. You know what I mean? And not saying everyone, so don't go in my comments saying everyone. I'm just saying overall, like, the culture, the work culture, it's like, you don't even respect me that much. On top of that, you're not even paying me that much. So, like, why do I have to deal with that? You see what I'm saying? But, like, I'll make a separate video for that. But I hope that all answers your question. Well, not your question, but I hope you guys enjoyed my video. Like I said, please keep subscribing. My video will get so much better, so much stuff. But I just want to make my first video in, like, yeah. So, bye.